Hello, everybody. We are the Shills, a group of YouTube creators and debunkers that do live roundtable chats, live debunks, guests, interviews, and more. And tonight we welcome Dr. Bob the Science Guy to the show. Yes, indeed. We're going to tackle some stupid with the man himself. So let's get around the table here, see who's what, and what's going on. And all right, and let's go right to Anti-Flatter. How's it going, man? What's up your way?
Hey, bro. Yeah, things are all right here at the Flatter House. Still working on that security issue and trying to track down who the hell's getting these damn Masonic stones.
I was going to ask about that. It sounds like things are really heating up. What do you think's going to happen next?
Well, we're not sure. This is the first time we've had more than two in one spot. Our latest intelligence says he's got three now, meaning he's starting to manipulate things. So I've got the Lance Corporal out there seeing if he can at least track down one. If we can keep him away from one, we might be able to stop whatever they're up to.
Oh, man, I'm hoping, I'm rooting, because we know we need you in this. Come on. Don't let us down.
That is a lot of pressure.
Yeah, no doubt, right? And let's go to Steaming Cup of Reason, man. How's it going today in your world?
It's going awesome, brother. How about you?
Oh, good. My place as well. Absolutely great here. Can't wait for this show. What's coming your way from the channel? What you up to?
Well, I just did another Friday Night Mega Mary special, which went pretty well. We talked to Blue Earth thing. That was a lot of fun.
That was indeed.
Working on the next one for next week, and got a little something cooking away with Anti-Flatter. So watch this space, and we've got another great show on LNR later on today, but I'll let Logical fill you in on the details on that.
Awesome. Right on, buddy. Killer stuff. Right on. And right over to Jutmonkthedrunk Monkey, buddy. How's it going, man?
Oh, fucking banging, bruv. Can't believe I'm here again. I mean, it's been busy this week with that extra one thrown in with cats, and what an awesome stream that was. I'm still getting over it.
I know, that was so much fun. I had a blast. What's cool your way? I know I'm like very busy guy and all, but you know, what are you up to?
Well, busy, but like the things I've been trying to get out are starting to take shape now. The Columbia, that's starting to take shape now. I'm chasing up Casual Spaceman. If you're in the chat there, fucking pull your finger out of your ass, you fucking plum. You want in?
We might have an audio problem, guys.
Kevin beat me, man. He was fucking fair play to you, Kevin. You fucking.
Hold on there, monkey.
Bang on.
Hey, Tatty, looks like we have an audio issue here. Everybody's saying it's dead quiet.
Yep, I'm not understanding why.
What, all of us or just me?
Cable B is not moving.
Restart the audio engine in voice meter from menu.
Yep.
Is
all
everybody?
Just me.
Well, it can't just be one because we hear him. It's not possible. It says it's very quiet. Maybe the slider down in voice meter or in OBS?
Nope. All sliders are up. As far as we can
Wolfgang says it's everyone and the volume cut like 75%, so it's low on everyone.
Oh. Don't know what's happened there.
It must be run by a fucking
nothing.
paranoid, globe-denying, deluded fucktard or something.
Let's see how that is.
Okay, let's keep talking here and see. Hopefully it's looking good.
Hey, there we go.
All right, everybody says we're good. All right, sorry, Monkey, keep going, man. So what were you saying there? What's going on?
So yeah. I mean, like, I've had a lot that I've wanted to do, and I've just not had time to do it. So it is coming. You know, I am starting to like fucking knuckle down, and I've got a little. There's a certain shill that I know what I'm talking about, but I've got a little collab. Coming out with not with the shill, but with they know what I'm talking about, and I'm not going to say no more. But that'll be rock and roll, and you'll know what I'm talking about when it's fucking banged out on the internet, pal.
Right on. Killer stuff, man. Right on. And over to Dead Kennedy in Space. How's it going your way, buddy? What's happening?
I'm doing excellent. As you well know, I had a debate yesterday on my channel, and
Sounds fun.
I think if it proved anything, it proved that flat Earth has absolutely nothing left. There's just
Oh.
no new ideas.
I've never seen such a fucking idiot in all my life, Kevin. I watched that geezer. What an absolute... He didn't understand the word citation when you asked him. He just glossed over it. And he didn't listen to a word you said.
He didn't.
How you kept your fucking cool, I don't know, mate.
It was not easy. It was not easy. Thank you very much for watching it, though. So
was
there was
brilliant.
that, and I've got another video planned for Anthony Riley. It's going a little slowly though because it requires me to look up the specifics of UK law, but I'm getting there, and that's about all that's new in my world.
That sounds cool as well. Excellent. Right on. Yeah. You know, you're definitely in the moving on stage, so that's great, man. Love to see it. And over to Cave Town, Logical Troglodyte. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, it's going okay now, but earlier today we had a huge problem in our laboratory. Our interdimensional time dilation portal had gone down. The squirrels running in the cages decided to go on strike and unionize, so we had to make a mad scramble and hire a bunch of gerbil scabs to cover it. So because of that, it's creating a different sort of a current. So on the Logic and Reason show tomorrow morning, we will not be going live at our normal time. We will be going live at 1100, it is 11 a.m. for you civilians, GMT, which will be 5 a.m. Central Standard Time in North America. We will be having Professor Philip Bell on as a special guest, joined by Mike Bertelson. We will be discussing the conspiracy claim that satellites are fake.
Nice. I can't wait. That's going to be some good stuff. Lots of meat to sink into on that one. I bet it'll be a great show for sure. And running the show tonight, speaking of which, we got Aimee Hogan. Hey, Aimee, how's it going your way?
Hey, good, thank you. How about you?
Oh, excellent, excellent. So, you know, what's new and exciting? See anything really stupid besides the videos we might be watching after?
Not yet. I've been looking. I watched Jose's show today, and Nathan Thompson was on there just crapping all over the panel, and that was pretty much it. And I got to call him a scammer today. So,
Oh, nice.
so yeah, that
Hey,
was fun.
sounds like a great day indeed. Excellent. Right on, right
does.
on.
It felt good.
And for everybody watching, you know, just at the Shills, Amy's got your questions and comments. Make sure that we get them and she's got them and the whole bit. So we're good to go. And Tatty, you're the big producer today. How's it going? A little glitch there, Ray. Is OBS just, you know, playing its own game? How you doing?
Yeah, it's shown its feisty side, shall we say. But I'll
Ah,
slap it down with a hammer again and we'll be fine. Look, all good
nice.
though. All good though. Get some lovely
Nice.
videos made up here.
I love it.
Lined up for you. So just enjoy the show, folks.
Awesome. He's got that total attitude, right? Never give up, never surrender. You got to love it. Yes. So let's get to our amazing guest this evening. We've got the one and only Dr. Bob, the science guy. Hey, man, thanks for coming on the show. How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me, and greetings from sunny Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, well, that's a different tag. You must be loving things down there. How's things?
Oh man, I just miss the sleet and the cold temperatures and the wetness and the sliding and the deer and everything else that I'm just so used to up in northern Michigan this time of year. I don't know what to do. All we have down here is freaking scorpions.
Oh, well, I would steer clear of them. Probably more dangerous than a flurf, although, you know, definitely more interesting getting away from them. There was a comment saying you might be at a conference?
Yeah, I'm at a medical conference right now, and scorpions are just painful. You know, flurfs are soul crushing, just soul crushing and mind numbing.
Okay. Now there was another question to you too, Aimee. Do you remember there was another question already posed to the good doctor there in the chat, or have
Somebody
I already
wanted
lost
to know if I
myself?
was a sunbird.
Yes, he wanted to know
Making
if
me
you
feel
were a
old, guys. No, I'm only 57. I'm still a working man.
There you go. Yeah, crashes.
I was at the American College of Osteopathic Internal Medicine, and I've
Nice.
learned all sorts of really cool stuff. And it sounds like I'm going to have to give a talk next year if they'll have me.
Awesome.
They like to talk about medical marijuana at these things, and they always put a big picture of Cheech and Chong up there, and it's starting to piss me off.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there was a beepy. Yeah, okay. Now, let me just see here. I wanted to go over a couple of things. You recently did a video there on mud flood. And how painful was it getting things ready to make that video? Because I know mud flood really gets me. Holy.
It was completely agonizing. My grandmother remembers the orphan train stopping in Southwest Michigan, where she grew up. And, their idea that, basically they had this mud flood and all the kids floated to the top, but it killed all the adults, except, of course, for the people driving the trains. We have pictures of the kids on the train, but for some reason we don't have pictures of them cleaning mud out of abandoned cities from the Atlantean civilization that existed before. So, it's mind-numbing what people will believe sometimes. It's just, oh my God. So every now and then you just got to sit down and do it.
This one really feeds their Dunning-Kruger, I find. It's crazy. We had one from Digital Demonic Davros. He wanted to ask the panel if they know the significance of Vega Star. And I know Dead Kennedy in Space definitely wanted that one.
Yeah, I suspect what he's referring to is that in, about 1,500 years, Vega will be the new North Star, replacing Polaris. I'm wondering if that's what he was referring to.
That's what I was thinking as well. That's what
One of those. I heard that as well, but
I'm sorry,
I don't think I'll be around.
Nor I. I won't see the proof, but I'm pretty sure the calculation will prove correct.
Unless you believe the singularity is nigh.
Could maybe Nibiru be a singularity?
Oh God, Nibiru.
Singularity, stupid.
Yeah. Oh man, that stuff gets crazy, doesn't it? So let's see. Anybody from the panel have any questions for the good doctor before we get into a video? I just wanted to make sure we didn't skip over anybody there.
Only that Crashes also wants to let Dr. Bob know that he started his project.
Oh, okay. I'm sure that'll mean more to Dr. Bob than myself, but probably good news, right? So
I'm have lined up on the border. You got enough, like we planned?
We'll give him a second to jump in. We have a really low latency, so he should be pretty quick. Let me see now. Let me go over to my little list of participants, because I do believe there was a few questions. Was there not? I think Steaming Cup of Reason had something, and Logical Troglodyte had something too. I wonder if we could pry it out of them at this time.
Had something, you guys, in a question for Dr. Bob? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Have you ever met anybody on your education level, i.e. having alphabet soup behind their name, that actually is a conspiracy theorist, other than, say, Dr. Claudia Albers on YouTube?
Oh, good one. Oh, did you catch that, Dr. Bob? I wonder if we've got a lost them.
My audio is going bad. Give me a second.
Oh, sure. No worries.
Over a little bit. How's that sound?
Yeah, you're good. Hear you fine.
All right, we're getting off of the other one because the battery's going dead. I've never, other than there are a couple of maverick docs that are anti-vaxxers, but, for example, I've never met a commercial pilot that thinks the Earth's flat. I mean, a real pilot. I've never... There are some people that have kind of strange beliefs. I understand there's a few engineers out there that are young Earth creationists, but they're few and far between.
Yeah, I've found myself the only person I know for sure that has some really screwy beliefs that's got some worthwhile letters at the end of their name is that geologist Robert Schoch or whatever, because he seems to be on the fringe of the ancient aliens thing, except still actually a geologist. So
Is that the guy that thinks the Sphinx is 10,000 years old or something?
Yeah, he's the one who did the special with Heston years back about it. It was like in the 80s. I've seen a VHS copy of it, and it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. At least to use some logic with it, which is something you don't normally see in big conspiracy theories. They generally kind of make these ad hoc things like ether bands and crap like that.
Yeah, very true. Good point. Good point. Anybody else need to jump in here before we switch into video mode?
Well, we did get a response from Demonic Davros about Vega. He said it will replace Polaris, yes, but also he can see it in the southern hemisphere at this time of year.
Oh, good one. Yes. Nice. Feck You's got a question for Dr. Bob. Do you think pro-science skeptics bear a special responsibility in getting facts right, correcting errors?
I think that anybody that is trying to trade in their training and their position has an obligation to at least put some reasonable effort into it to make it reproducible, or at least understand the concept. That's one of the reasons I don't really mind somebody that is a stay-at-home mom, for example, with a high school education that's a vehement anti-vaxxer. They just don't know any better. But when you get somebody like Brian Mullins that's an actual engineer, a professional engineer, saying he doesn't understand how gravity works, that really pisses me off, because it lends the credibility of that profession to silliness.
Yes, that is a good tie-in too, because you get that lead from one to the other. I think astronomy has suffered in the eyes of the layman quite often due to astrology in that same regard.
Well, the difference between astronomy and astrology is astronomy describes what's going on in the skies, and astrology talks about what it means.
Yeah.
And for some strange reason, I don't think that stars lined up tens of millions of years ago to tell you that you're going to meet somebody with brown eyes this week.
Exactly. Yeah, I just, and with the whole thing with them all shifting position over, decently long periods of time, so you can't really blame, the ancients for not noticing it. But now that we know, how can you put meaning on something where that symbol will be in a different place after so long? It doesn't even make sense then. But, did we miss any questions going through there, Aimee?
No, Al, your pal Al said, check out Madison Star Moon for some chemtrail content. She's crazy. Mike Bertelson said he works with an engineer who actually is a young Earth creationist.
Oh, wow.
There are some, and that seems to be the profession that collects them, is engineering.
Huh. I wonder
And also,
why.
Can we say hi to Baldy Cats in the chat?
Baldy Cats,
Absolutely.
my man.
Hey, Baldy Cats.
Hey, Baldy Cats.
Hey, Baldy Cats.
How's it going, man? Once again, great stream. Had a blast. Hope we can do it again soon. That was awesome fun.
I want to tell
super
you
fun.
guys something real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I had two real inspirations in Flat Earth. One was Wolfie, Wolfie 6020, and the other was this weird guy, Conspiracy something or other, Conspiracy Cats.
No, let me tell you
And-
something, Dr. Bob. This guy, right, is a fraud. He's not a cat. You go
You
watch
haven't
one
looked
of his
at him, have you?
videos, and you tell me if you see a cat in fucking sight. I'm telling you now, pal. The guy's a fraud. I love him.
Have you ever
but he is
blown
not a cat,
up?
period.
Have you ever blown up one of his pictures and checked out his pupils? Don't you be saying anything until you do that. No, but I've always admired Conspiracy Cat. I mean, he's got a great sense of humor, and he was a good inspiration for my channel.
He is.
I can understand that. Yeah.
He is an awesome creator. I mean, and I've said this, for me, my favorite in this genre, absolutely funny, never fails to deliver, love him to bits. Just wish he'd stop bullshitting us about being a cat.
Check his pupils out.
I will do.
Oh, that's too funny, guys. Well, I wonder if we shouldn't queue up a video and start it on the attack here, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think, everybody?
Absolutely.
That sounds like a damn good idea.
All right.
Huckleberry.
Let's do some. I know Tattie's got something really good queued up for our first video. We just had a super chat come in, so maybe who wants to take a readout on that for us, and then we'll do the video.
I'll take it. We got $2 from Brian Shannon, Dr. Bob, and Cats. Now let's see some stupid.
Good
Thanks,
shout, Brian. Awesome. Good shout,
Perfectly timed.
Oh, Streamlabs is slow today. What are you going to do? Okay, there we go. So, yeah, Tattie, what do you say? Cue up a little bit of stupid for us, and let's let it roll.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Awesome.
Oh, God.
Oh, my freaking God.
Oh, no.
No.
Dude.
Oh, man. Classic cherry picking there.
Oh, yeah.
Pause. I know exactly. Oh, I've seen that clip before. That's a really funny clip. But can we just say something about how horrible that whole hoax logo was?
Oh, beyond horrible, man.
That's just like my stomach dropped out when I saw that. I was like, are you kidding me? The History Channel, the goddamn Gleason projection, the Artemis logo. What's going on? Like, Jut, these people are fucking weirdos, are they not?
Yeah, it is cheap fucking tacky bollocks that they're trying to make something of something that is nothing to be made of because it isn't fucking there, because they're fucking warped, weird, deluded, fucked up, retarded fucktards.
I love it, man. Dr. Bob's up.
Jeez, tell us how you really feel. You know, here's the problem that I run into. And I just want to put this whole clip with this. I mean, he's talking about, all right, gravity's gravity. It's a thing. Now, we have two models that describe what gravity is. One is Newtonian gravity, and the other is Einsteinian gravity. They are freaking models. Gravity is what it is. The other two try and get us to an understanding of how it works, okay? Now, my favorite thing that I just love is they like to take a Newtonian concept that gravity is a force and then apply it to an Einsteinian thing, saying, well, Einstein says gravity is not a force, so therefore what force is keeping the atmosphere on? If you're talking about a force, as gravity is a force, you're talking about a Newtonian universe, which works just fine for everything that we can see and touch. If you want to talk about bending of space-time, we'll talk about bending of space-time, but we're not going to use the word force because that's a Newtonian concept. So the entire thing is based on the fact that Einsteinian gravity is a little better description of gravity than Newtonian is. And therefore, it's superseded, quote unquote. So therefore, apparently, Newtonian gravity doesn't even work anymore. But since Einsteinian gravity is math, it's not real either, so there's no such thing as gravity. What kind of twisted fucking logic is this?
It's called sophistry.
Seriously.
Has anyone heard of KIC 9832227?
Nope.
Or is it JIC? It could be JIC 9832227. It's a contact binary star system that is about 30-odd light years away from Earth. And they orbit one another, but they touch each other, and they orbit one another about every 11 hours or something like that. Now, in about 5 years, they are going to basically explode into, maybe some of you will know, a red nova.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's going to happen in about 5 years. Now, we will suddenly be able to see this light in the sky in about 5 years' time that will be there for a couple of months, and that will be this red nova. Now, the fact that these things are orbiting each other, touching each other, there's gravity right there. And once they finally do create this red nova and implode in one another or whatever it takes to do this, then obviously, yeah, I mean, what is that going to be? CGI in the air? A fucking light that's just appeared? I mean, Christ, are they fucking stupid?
Project Bluebeam,
How are you
man.
going to explain that?
Well, maybe one of the LEDs in the dome will be burning out.
Let's go to Dead Kennedy here.
Yeah, I wanted to respond to what Dr. Bob was saying about gravity. Is it fair to say that Newtonian gravity complements Einsteinian gravity instead of contradicts it? In that, I think the best way to describe gravity is as an apparent force, because it's a force, but it's caused by the curvature of space-time.
Well, a better way of doing it is to say that, gravity is gravity. The other two are models, okay? So we shouldn't confuse the model with what it is. Einsteinian gravity describes gravity more closely to reality than Newtonian does. And if you're dealing with objects that are not extremely massive, extremely fast, or extremely tiny, basically anything in our world that we can see or touch in our day, our bridges, our bullets, things like that, Einsteinian gravity reduces to Newtonian gravity. All right, because Einsteinian's field equations will reduce to Newtonian gravity for what I would call normal everyday objects. At least that's my understanding of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a real balance there, how close they are but different. It's I like it very much. Sorry, was that you, Logical?
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
I'm saying, when you look at Quantum Eraser and Riley and everybody, where they cherry pick these gravities, they do a search for gravity is not a force, and they get a document, and then they do a search within that document for gravity is not a force, and then they read the sentence. Very close by in that same document, it very clearly says that these things can be reduced in most cases to Newtonian gravity, and you can just outright use Newtonian gravity without fear of having any significant errors. We don't use Einsteinian gravity to design bridges or find firing tables.
Right. I mean, Newtonian gravity is more than sufficient to track objects and predict orbital paths and whatnot. Absolutely, right? Anytime.
Exactly. And quite frankly, if you can't adequately describe Newton's laws of motion and understand simple concepts that, when you let go of a book in midair, a force acts on it to make it go downward, or even the concept of what down is. If you can't adequately describe those, don't start talking to me about quantum physics. I mean, seriously, learn the basics first.
Yeah, I think the simplest and most easy to understand explanation I've ever heard is that Newtonian gravity basically tells us what gravity is, and Einsteinian tells us why.
Good, good. I like that very much. Very
Or
much.
what it does, or what it does, and the other is why it does it.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, what's so hard to understand about that? Why do these flirts get that wrong?
It's not what. Well, it actually comes down to the bigger tenet of flirdom. All right, you have to confabulate gravity. So you say Einstein replaced Newton, so Newton's invalid. Okay. Well, but Einstein's invalid because it's math, and math isn't real. Okay. Therefore, there's no gravity. The problem is that if gravity exists, by definition, the Earth is spherical. All right, because you cannot have an object the size of the Earth acting under the influence of gravity that is not spherical. You can't have a square or a cubical Earth.
Right.
You know, it will crush inward to the smallest volume, and that is a sphere.
Yeah, if Pluto had just managed to amass more mass during its growth at the beginning of the solar system, it would be spherical. But alas, it lost the war, and it's not. Right?
I think Pluto is more or less spherical, isn't it?
Well, pretty much, but it's a little bit off because it didn't quite get big enough to truly finish the job 100%. It's just so close, right?
Well, then you start screwing with things like rotation. You know, Jupiter rotates very rapidly. And as a result, it's squashed, and it's visibly squashed.
Yes.
Whereas the Earth, you know, it's only a difference of about, 14 miles or something?
Yeah.
And, you know, it's very difficult. If you manipulate the photograph, if you split it one way and split it the other and then rotate it and try and line it up, you'll see it's slightly off.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's not something that you're just going to look at and see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the thing with Pluto, that the reason why it was demoted as a planet was the fact that it's not behaving like other planets do. A planet should be clearing all debris from its orbital path, and Pluto doesn't do that.
Wasn't
that's,
the
I think,
factor
the crux of it?
Wasn't another factor that it could barely it was barely holding on to the orbit of its largest moon, Charon? Like the two kind of whip each other around instead of Pluto controlling Charon.
Yeah, I think that was also part of it, but it was mostly because it does not clear its orbital path, which a planet must do to be considered a planet.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
was the final nail in its coffin.
Yeah. We got a super chat in from Digital Demonic Davros, Australian $2. Thanks, buddy. Right on. Pluto would have a tail if it was near the sun, and absolutely, it's kind of like a massive comet. Very good shout, man. I like that very much.
Awesome.
I wonder if we shouldn't play a little bit more of the video here, guys.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Fucking crack on with the video before I fucking pluck my eyes out.
All right, what do you think there, Tatty? Shall we cue it up and knock it down a little bit more? We all set and ready?
All set and ready. What I'm going to do, though, just to warn you, there was no audio in the stream on the first bit of that video there. It's only 42 seconds in. So I've moved it back 30 seconds. So
Okay,
just gonna
perfect.
Get 30 seconds again.
Yeah, let them all get caught up. Awesome. Right on, let's do it.
Cool.
Great, I get to listen to Riley again.
Oh, yeah.
You love Riley Kennedy.
Oh yeah.
Especially for you.
Yeah,
Still no
there's no
sound.
sound again.
Fucking pause.
Aye.
Did he just say that they changed something on Wikipedia? I thought anyone could change whatever they fucking want on Wikipedia. Who the fuck checks Wikipedia for information? It's absolute fucking bollocks. Anyone who fucking relies on that fucking nonsense and that nonsense alone has got to be fucking dumb, and a globe denying fucktard.
I used to have a screenshot of Wikipedia that said that Genghis Khan founded Canada. I edited it and screenshotted it before it was edited out.
You mean you didn't?
I'm speechless.
Wikipedia is a depository of knowledge edited by 12-year-olds.
Yeah, but I mean,
Now-
not everyone's fucking right,
Very
are
good
they?
description.
Yeah, but some of them are pretty close, but you never, it's not a primary source. What you do is you look at the sources they list and go to those sources, which are generally
Yes.
the primary sources. Those are much more reliable.
Well, I always thought that. I mean, certainly, if I'm actually going to do a debunk and not just insult someone like I do on my videos normally, and I have to research something, I actually look 2 or 3 times, you know, like just to really sort of like try and get a grasp of what. Okay, and I'm like, so yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And I just go, yeah, that'll do. Bollocks. Who gives a fuck? It's something.
Yeah, you're the same as me. You want to check at least 2 or 3 sites or 2 or 3 sources before you put that into your script.
Absolutely, yeah. And certainly with Wikipedia, I mean that's the worst thing to rely on. We know that.
Right. I think Logical Troglodyte was jumping in.
Oh, actually, it was just a point about the whole gravity thing. I was gonna tell you is about when my son was, 10 years old. He heard this about the Newtonian and Einstein gravity, and before anybody in the audience jumps on me for this analogy, remember I was talking to a 10-year-old. So I had him stand on the opposite side of a door, and I said, okay, let's pretend the door is gravity. Is it a push or a pull? And he said, well, it's a pull. I said, well, okay, you're Newton and I'm Einstein. He says it's still the same thing, just 2 different ways of looking at it, depending on which frame of reference you're using. And you know, he got it. And for a 10-year-old, that was pretty good, I thought.
Absolutely, man. Very cool. Right on. I think we need another minute to see if we can't figure out why there's no audio from the video. We're just double checking in the background. So if anybody's got anything they want to get off their chest, you got a good time right now.
I buzzed. I don't.
Okay.
Oh yeah, jump in, Amy. I didn't see that at all. You might have to
Okay,
leave
thank
and
you.
rejoin the buzzer thing.
Why does the buzzer
Okay.
hate Amy?
It always
don't
hates me
know.
every time. But in the meantime, Ugly German True says, if down were determined just by density and buoyancy, flurfers would either need to wear weather balloons tied around their necks or their heads would scratch along the ground. Mr. Victory says, gravity is so much more than a force, but it's still a force. Dark Knight Apologetic says flurfers are wrong on purpose, and Stephen Huxtable says they revel in their shared ignorance. Mike Bertelson says that as an engineer, if I didn't account for gravity as a force, nothing we design would be safe to use. In the practical, everyday, real world, it is a force. And as an engineer, I didn't account for gravity. If I didn't account for gravity as a force, nothing we design would be safe to use. In the practical, everyday, real world, it is a force. And then Colon says, as an aeronautical engineer, we have to account for the mass of the object to work out the lift required to overcome the gravity it is in. It's not just rocket science. And Baldy Cat asked, he says, Baldy Cat says, can I ask Bob what he thinks the most dangerous theory is, i.e. flat earth or anti-vaxxers, et cetera, taking into account physical and mental health?
Good shout, Dr. Bob.
Yes. And then
Oh, sorry, Amy, go ahead.
that's okay. I just have 2 more. Intellectual Iconoclasm says one of the reasons Pluto Charon was deleted from Planet is that the Barical Terrible, if their system, I can't understand what that meant, but is between the 2 bodies and not inside the larger body, he thinks. And then BM Furball says the guerrilla skeptics on Wikipedia actively update, correct, and create science-based articles. Great group.
Nice. Right on. Dr. Bob, I don't know if you remember the question now, but, over to you for sure.
Oh, dear God. All right. Well, I think on that last one, I think it's the Berry Center. If the Berry Center is not within one of the bodies, maybe that's what he's referring to. All right. So let's just go ahead and try and get this from the start. First of all, let's make something clear. Flat Earth is the pet rock of YouTube. The difference is that pet rocks we all knew was a joke. There are only two types of people in Flat Earth right now, the willfully ignorant and those that sell T-shirts to the willfully ignorant. Now, as far as conspiracy theories and mental health, I think that by far the most dangerous conspiracy theory is the anti-vax movement. By far. People die because of it. All right?
Absolutely.
Children die because of it. Flat Earth, mud flood, and several of these other young Earth creationism, these are errors in thought process and logical thinking. And they come from lack of critical thinking skills, which is a symptom of our educational system rather than a mental illness. We're just not teaching people to be critical thinkers. The story that you told of talking to your 10-year-old son about whether or not the door had to be pushed or pulled open. All right. People with decent critical thinking skills can grasp that concept. People that live in conspiracy theories will seize upon the difference between those to try and use them to mutually disprove each other, because the concept of a door opening violates their narrative. So I think I got everything. Anybody recall one that I missed?
I think I think you pulled it off. Like I'm giving you 100% right on the nose. Excellent.
I'd just like to ask Dr. Bob, what do you think of the level of paranoia that seems to exist amongst conspiracy theorists?
I think that has to do, that's the overall, for example, the overall theme of Flat Earth and a lot of these other things is that there's some Kabbalah out there that's hiding this from us, them. And as a result, they're just excessively suspicious of everything. I mean, things that, you could sit down, there's an old line from Horatio Hornblower. You get three captains together, they won't agree on the color to an orange. If you get three conspiracy theorists together, not only won't they agree on the color of the orange, they'll disagree as to whether or not it's even an orange and why somebody would present this as an orange. And, that's just one of those things. And, logic and facts don't dissuade people. And that is a key feature of conspiracy theories to me. They do not allow logic and facts to dissuade them from their narrative, because their narrative makes them somehow feel special in an otherwise powerless life.
Mm-hmm. You out there, Dick?
Yeah, right here. Sorry. I had my mute button, the physical one, not just the software one. Damn it. Was it Dead Kennedy or Logical that wanted in there as well? I can't remember now.
Might have been Kevin. I didn't.
I say we go back to the video, see if we got that sorted out.
Works for me.
I don't think we do, but we'll see.
No?
I'm pretty sure we don't actually. Okay, well, we're gonna give it a shot, Tatty says. So let's see what happens here. Running it, Tatty?
Doing what and for what reason. And basically it demonstrates they don't like certain phrases. Well, that fiend has striked again on Wikipedia.
Ah, here it is. Yeah, with the Wayback Machine. Yep. Let me make it a little bigger. Yeah.
They don't like it, do they? They have to change their science for no good reason other than to hide keywords like superseded rather than refined and cause and effect. And now it's just missing.
Yep. There.
I hate that fundamental misunderstanding of they're just changing science willy-nilly. No, that is not how science works.
The other problem is superseded has a number of different meanings, and he's taking one meaning of the word and substituting it into something that clearly uses another meaning. Einsteinian gravity is an advancement upon in a more comprehensive picture than Newtonian gravity was. It doesn't mean that Newtonian gravity doesn't work anymore. Newtonian gravity described motion very, very well with very few exceptions, and Einsteinian gravity cleared up a few of those exceptions and explained them as well, and the original stuff. But for building bridges and shooting artillery shells, Newtonian gravity works great.
Yeah, and I love his use. I love his use of the conspiratorial language. They are doing this because, but he's talking about Wikipedia, an open source website that anybody can edit, that knows how to use a keyboard. But I'll guarantee you, if you go to the physics department at any college, you're not going to see that bullshit happening. The very specific language to be used. One of my favorite questions that Riley likes to ask is, show me a .edu citation for gravity as a force. I sent him 3 from MIT, University of Arizona, and USC, where the physics department was using the term gravitational force. And of course, he would not accept any of those.
Wow.
His own citations show gravity as a force. You just have to actually read the citation rather than skim it and do a word search or a phrase search within the document. You have to read the document in context. Every single citation that I've looked at Riley put up or Quantum Eraser put up contradicts what they were using it for. Every single one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's cherry picking, right? And you can see it right away, no problem. Amy's got some stuff from the viewers for us.
Yes, I do. It's from the last comments we were making. Digital Demonic Davros says, if you use Varicenter, then Jupiter is not a planet, as its orbital center is outside of the sun's diameter. Just a thought. Then Peter G says, the main risk of flat Earth is as a gateway conspiracy, so you might then go to anti-vax when you think that there are large conspiracies. Mr. Victory says, Planet X is the worst. It starts the California forest fire. LOL. Seriously, though, anti-vax is seriously dangerous. Wolfgang says denial of logic and philosophy is a failure of the education system. And Martianista says anti-vaxxers endanger the whole of humanity.
Absolutely.
In reality, they do. They do. They are dangerous. Do you have any idea?
You take away the safety of the herd, and everybody's got nothing. It's over. Dead Kennedy's been waiting. Dead Kennedy, take it, buddy.
Yeah, because we've been talking about gravity a lot and how we understand gravity and definitions of gravity and everything. And can I just point out that conspiracy theorists and flat earthers are basically laughing at generations of people struggling somewhat to understand the forces caused by bodies that are thousands of miles in diameter and incomprehensibly massive. Like we're talking about scale of the galaxy kind of stuff, and they're just going, they don't even know what it is. And it's like, fucking, we're close. That's pretty good.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I love it. Dr. Bob, you were going to jump in there.
Well, the comment about Jupiter and the Berry Center, I don't think the Berry Center that they're talking about has to do with the planet and the star that it's orbiting. I think it has to do more with the planet and its moons, but I'm not sure. I'm not an astronomer. That's just an educated wild-ass guess on my part.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good one.
The problem that you run into with, I'm at a conference right now, and I actually attended lecture this morning by Dr. Blackman, who's an infectious disease doc. What?
You just roboted out there a tiny bit on us. Yeah. We just lost the first little intro to what you were saying.
I attended a lecture this morning by Dr. Blackman, who is an infectious disease specialist, one of the snow-haired or no-haired gentlemen of medicine. He's been around forever. But he had some very interesting slides up, and one had to do with the comparison of the deaths of measles in parts of the world that don't have access to the vaccination versus parts that do. And, I mean, it's ridiculously stratified.
Right.
The numbers must be... there are literally hundreds of thousands of people that die of complications of measles worldwide every year, and they does not occur in first world countries that have access to vaccinations. Unless, of course, you make a conscious choice to expose your children to death. All right, because you're afraid of aluminum.
Yeah, that's a little bit crazy.
For God's sake, come on.
Yeah, they have not a clue why they're scared in any way. They were just told by somebody else, herding sheep, that they should be scared of it, and that was that. It's sad because you got to make the educated decisions on these matters in life. You can't just trust it to the tarot cards.
Well, tarot cards are pretty good for certain things, but I wouldn't be basing my life decisions on them. Okay, they're a fun parlor trick, but Dr. Salk, who developed the polio vaccination, do you know who he tested it on?
His own son, wouldn't it?
His children and his wife.
Wow!
And when they released it for use the next year, parents brought their children and lined up around the block to have it. And right now, we've got a bunch of people that have no education when it comes to actually understanding the immune system, doing their own research on the internet, and making very bad decisions because, and it was described once very aptly. We have people that are more afraid of gluten than they are of polio. And it's a terrible thing. It truly is. I've actually transported somebody in an iron lung back when I was a paramedic back in the day. We actually had to get some high school kids to move this damn iron lung to Sparrow Hospital because they didn't have one. And, and that was how we brought this guy into the hospital. Now they do it a little bit differently now, but back then we actually moved an iron lung, so I've actually seen one. How many of you have?
I saw one in a medical museum.
Yeah, and that's the problem, and to give you an idea, they switched over from the oral vaccination, which, I personally kind of liked because that was the mechanism of entry for the polio virus, back to the injectable one. Because there was a minuscule chance of having the mutation of that virus to actually make it a little bit more active. And because there was no exposure to polio in the wild anymore, thanks to the success of these vaccinations, even that tiny risk was deemed too much, and they switched over to one that essentially had no risk because it was killed virus. And, it's one of those things that really bothers me a lot. And, I think that's going to be a big part of my channel in the near future.
Yeah, I could see, especially, yourself with the education level and whatnot. I mean, you're somebody who can really tackle these things from a very educated and, experienced perspective. I love it. Aimee needs to get in with some viewer interactions. Aimee, go for it.
I do. Thank you. Whoops. It says, I am a strong believer in the evil that anti-vaxxers do. It's not even altruistic or abstract to me. This time last year, my white blood cell count was under 200. Martianista says, we might not fully understand gravity, but in the everyday physical world, it acts as a force. Period. Mandelbrot Set says, barycenter applies to all orbits, planetary and lunar. And Charlie says, actually, the barycenter of the solar system is important. The fact that the Earth and the Sun orbit about this point means the Sun moves slightly. This allows to find exoplanets. And Unirock 2 says, I was pumped full of vax before he was deployed to Iraq. You get so many vaccinations when you go. It's insane. Dark Knight Apologetics says, can we quarantine all anti-vaxxers on a deserted island somewhere in the middle of the ocean? Nice. Joseph Grant says, yes. Joseph Grant says, I was born and raised in Belgium before the measles vaccine and lost a friend when I was 8 years old to the measles. There is nothing cool about the anti-vaxxers.
Nice. I like that. I like that very much. Oh, anybody want to take a super chat shout for us?
I lost a friend to H1N1 influenza in 2010. He was 45 years old and healthy. I watched him die. All right.
Ouch.
That's flu. All right. If it wasn't for public health and vaccinations and clean water, most of us would lose a significant number of our children, and I kind of like my kids.
Yeah, so, I do as well. Absolutely.
Most of the time, except my son. My son's an asshole. But he's a cool asshole, and he's more popular than I was in high school.
Oh, that's good. You see, mine too, so all the good.
Yeah, if nobody's going to jump on this, I'll take this super chat. We got £5 from John Watson. The Sun-Jupiter barycenter example is only valid in a hypothetical binary two-body system with no other sources of gravity. Just saying. Thanks, John.
Nice. I love it. Thanks, John. Awesome. Good shout, too. Very good. Very good. What do you say, guys? Should we play a little video?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Tatty. Yeah, let her roll there, buddy.
As Jet would say, crack on with it.
Yeah, crack the fuck on, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Too funny.
And yeah, it's pretty sad that they had to take it out of Wiki. I mean, they're changing the rhetoric in real time, and it's obvious.
But their projected criticism of us back in 2015, 16, and spilling into 2017. If I say these two words, I'm sure it'll prick the hairs on the back of everyone's necks up. Flat earthers are, quote, science deniers. And how the tables have turned. What that was projection of their own failings. Like any con man, most of the long con is built up on...
Jeez.
Con man, you say? Step one in fraud is sell the lie. It usually involves making people afraid. You know what makes people feel afraid? Thinking that they've been lied to their whole lives. What does that sound like? Does that sound like maybe Flat Earth might be a fucking con? Fuck you, Riley.
That sounds like
indoctrination. Riley.
Yeah, I've noticed a move in the conspiracy theorist crowd of taking our arguments and co-opting them for their own. And that kind of really irritates me. They didn't use this kind of language until we started saying projection and things like that.
Yeah,
well,
they
here's
didn't
the
even know the
problem.
damn words.
You guys ever read Eric Hoffer's Mass Movements?
I haven't.
Nope.
All right. Look up Eric Hoffer. I think it's called Amongst the Believers or something or other like that. It's the history of mass movements. And, he looked at people like Hitler and just broke down what were the elements of a mass movement. The first one is you were wronged. It's no fault of your own. You were lied to or you were deceived. Somebody else did it. You and I are going to overcome that group together. I'll lead you, and we will make things right. Sound familiar? All right. So science lied to you. I understand the truth. I know you do too. It's not your fault that you don't understand this. You were lied to. I'll lead you to the true path. And that's the way they do it. It's a mass movement. That's all it is. It's a movement. That's why I don't call it science. I don't call it a belief. It's simply a mass movement. And you have people that are running it, and you have people that are following it. It gives them a sense of a common enemy that can all unite against and become part of a group. And that's the big thing that a lot of these people that were excluded from groups, I think, as they were growing up, they weren't sitting at the cool kid table. But now this is the new cool kid table in their eye.
The ever-faceless they.
My thought. Yeah, the ever-faceless they, and you don't have to be specific about it because they becomes whatever you think they are.
How can be a deluded, dumb fucktard who thinks the earth is flat be fucking anything other than just fucking idiocy?
Well, because you're the only one you're one of the privileged few that understand the truth. That makes you special. You are part you understand that the Earth is the center of the known universe in a special place, and your crusade is to try and convince other people of that. And then you get people like Oakley and those guys who clearly know that the Earth is not flat. But they do know that they can sell T-shirts to people who do think it is flat. And that allows them to sit at home in their council houses and not have real jobs, but they just broadcast this bullshit all day long and rake in money. They don't make a lot.
Cough, Mark Sargent, cough.
Oh, Mark Sargent, for God's
I tell you what, Dr. Bob, you have destroyed Oakley, and I remember that video, and it was absolutely brilliant.
Well, the easiest way to destroy Nathan Oakley is to sit down and say, okay, Nathan, can you give me one peer-reviewed article in any legitimate scientific journal that defeats a scientific theory, a math theorem, or any scientific concept because it's a logical fallacy? Just do Scientific America and do a search for logical fallacy disproves. You will never find it. Because of the fallacy. I can use all the logical fallacies I want in my argument. You still have to prove my conclusions wrong. And, they read the first line of the logical fallacy and they have no idea what they're talking about. They just memorize things and they try and throw stuff out to people that don't know what a logical fallacy even is. And if they say it with confidence, it suddenly becomes real.
Exactly. Dr. Bob, we had a...
Say they
oh,
don't
sorry, go
understand
Monkey.
what a logical fallacy is anyway. That's beyond them. That doesn't exist. A logical fallacy doesn't exist to Nathan Oakley.
Oh, very much.
And your point with that is?
Well,
that maybe he's just lying to people and trying to sound smarter than he really is.
Do you really think so?
Yeah.
Oakley is a fallacy.
We had a question for Dr. Bob there from Jose JG Gonzalez there. He said, Bob the Science Guy says on voice chat, you refuse to debate an anti-vaxxer one-on-one on his channel. And then he says, why? Are you supposed to step up, defend the case?
No. He wanted to know if I wanted to discuss, and I didn't view this as a bad thing with Jose, and I don't think he views it as a bad thing with me. He said he had an anti-vaxxer that wanted to debate me on vaccinations. And I said, fine. Do they have a medical degree or a degree in public health or immunology? And he said, no. Then no, I don't want to talk to him. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue with somebody who doesn't know the basics of it.
Right. I had answered Jose for you. Yeah, I had answered Jose for you in the chat. I had said, well, I'm guessing here, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. He just doesn't want to waste time bothering. And, if somebody doesn't have the credentials, why would you? So exactly, right?
You don't necessarily even have to have credentials. What you need to do is you have to have a basic understanding. For example, tell me the difference between IgG, IgM, and IgE. What are they used for? Where do they come into play in the immune system? And,
Sorry.
If you can't do that, if you can't explain to me what herd immunity is, if you can't explain to me how a vaccination works and why you have an adjunct in it, such as aluminum, okay? Why doesn't a vaccination work on somebody with advanced HIV? Or why do we need vaccinations, and why can't that person that talked about having fewer than 200 white cells, why would giving her a vaccination be just relying on herd immunity to live? Right. If they can't understand these basic concepts, how can they debate over whether or not you should be vaccinated?
Yeah,
there's a public health issue. A lot of people say, well, it's an invasion of privacy. Okay, there's a point to that. I agree with it. However, there are certain things that it's a public health issue to have a restaurant worker wash their hands after using the toilet. Right. It's not an invasion of their personal liberty. The other thing that you have to look at too is that we are members of a society here. We we gain benefit from being in society. And if you are participating in society, there are certain rules. And you need to follow those rules. And those rules are set up to protect society. You know, it's, you know, the thing came up the other day about nurses and not wanting to get flu shots. And if they don't get a flu shot, which is mandated by their employer, they have to wear a mask. Okay. All right. You can quit. I mean,
you have the choice.
That regulation, that rule that your hospital sets up that you need to be vaccinated against the flu in order to be in contact with a number of patients and people that are like our lady earlier on that has 200 white cells. You either need to be vaccinated or you need to wear a mask. It's a public health issue, and it's a medical decision made by infectious disease at the hospital. So I have no sympathy for that. None.
Oh, and it seems like a lot of people in the chat don't either. Aimee, would you like to jump in here?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to try to keep away from the anti-vax stuff. You don't want to hear me rant on that. But okay.
Yeah.
The Glober Mom says, for Bob, is there more than one way to get the smallpox vaccine? She does not have the circular scar that it leaves. I don't know if you answered that or not in the chat, because I did see
I asked her specifically how old she was.
Oh, okay. And then
I'll answer.
Then I probably grabbed it. Yeah, I probably grabbed that before. And then BM Furball says, by calling attention to that one thing you are not addressing, you are not adding to possible misinformation. People don't point out the other things, just the vaccine, because Wolfgang had said he's autistic and he's had the vaccine. And then Digital Demonic Davro says,
I'm sorry to hear that, but they're not related.
Exactly.
Same with my son too.
And
But
same
anyway.
with mine. So
Yep,
it's
and
not,
mine.
you know, it's
And
not.
his.
I'm not talking as somebody that's detached from this. I have a son with mild autism.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes, I have a son with autism and ADHD. And Digital Demonic Davro says, my son was diagnosed with a form of autism before his MMR vaccines. I had an MMR vac too and no injury. Marty Moose says, Flat Earth Channel's Tim Truth and Infinite Plane Society both have been saying for weeks Seattle is getting nuked tomorrow. Anyone else hear this about the 11-3 Seattle warnings? So they're a little bit of light humor added back in. And then Charlie says you can use the measured motion of a star to find how many planets it has, more than just one planet. And then BM Furball says, so far all the data has shown that there is no relation. So by continuing to call attention to it is actively detrimental to public health, meaning the autism vaccine link. And so yeah. Glober Mom says she's 54 years old.
I saw that. All right. The reason Glover Mom doesn't have it, I'm 57 and I have a vaccination. The reason that my children don't have vaccinations is because I had one. And there is no more smallpox.
Right.
Smallpox does not exist in the wild anymore. It's a germ warfare agent, which really sucks because it could be devastating, but it will be devastating on a worldwide basis. So I don't think I think that's a mutual assured destruction issue. But the last recorded death to smallpox was in a medical photographer in England. Well, I'm sorry for you guys out there. You don't like having it called England. It's the Great Britain. But it was a medical photographer. And that was the last recorded smallpox death, and her mother was the last recorded case. She was a 27-year-old medical photographer, contracted it at a research lab in London, and her mother was the last recorded case of smallpox that came out. So we don't vaccinate against it anymore because it doesn't exist.
Right.
And it doesn't exist because of those of us that were vaccinated. And I was born in 62, which meant that you were born in 67, and they stopped vaccination in the mid 60s.
Yeah.
So it used to be universal. And then, my brother and I think were the last of the Mohicans when it came to getting smallpox vaccinations.
Yeah, I was born in 70 and they skipped me. There was none of it by then. Absolutely. Dead Kennedy's been waiting. Let's turn to him here.
I just want to weigh in briefly on the whole, whoever it was in the chat who pointed out the coincidence that they are vaccinated and have autism. That's what it is. And here's the thing. I don't know all that much about the specific kind of biology and medicine aspect of this, but here's what I'm going to say. Autism is genetic. Vaccines do not change your DNA. End of. Am I incorrect there, Bob?
No, the problem that you run into is that you start seeing symptoms of autism. Well, autism's been around for a while, but it really became something that we started looking for and diagnosing right around the time I was doing my medical training in the mid-'80s. And, autism was starting to really become predominant then. And people were actually looking for it. And the second rule of Bob's second rule of medicine is if you don't look for it, you don't find it. And people in the 50s simply weren't looking for autism, so they never found it. So it became much more commonly found. Second of all, when do you develop autism? As a toddler, generally. When are you getting your vaccinations? As a toddler and younger.
Yeah.
For God's sakes, don't confuse concurrence with causation.
Yeah.
All right.
If you have a flu for a week and you sneeze a lot and it happens to be rainy out for that week, it doesn't mean your sneezing caused the rain.
Correct. And and a lot of people have associated things that have no real association. Like, for instance, cold and wet weather, also known as summer in the UK, does not cause colds. The fact that it drives people indoors and they cohabitate and breathe each other's air causes colds, because you get one person with a cold there and it spreads throughout the entire barracks, the household, etc., the school.
Yep.
It's the weather driving you indoors that causes the transmission of the disease. It's not just being miserable. That's just being miserable. Now, that lowers your immune system a little bit, yes. But, colds are caused by viruses. And the way you get them is you come in contact with viruses. And the easiest way to do that is shove everybody into a building to get out of the cold.
The wives' tales of, dress warm or you're going to catch a cold. There comes a time when people have to think, and let it go. It's over. We should know better by now.
Well, we do know better.
A lot of these. Go ahead.
We do know better. It's just sometimes it's easier to attribute it to something. It's always better to think that you know a cause. It's great when you're coughing. Okay, I got a lesion on a chest X-ray. That's causing the cough. Versus a normal chest X-ray, but I'm still coughing. What's causing the cough? I don't know. I'm going to stay up at night trying to figure this out. But I got a pneumonia sitting in there. Oh, that's a good reason to cough.
Exactly. BM Furball comes in with a great shout at the Shills. Vaccines cause adults. And he's damn right. I love it.
Yeah, as I understand the world statistics, and Bob, you can correct me if I'm reading them incorrectly, but the instances of autism worldwide is similar between first world and third world countries where vaccines are not prevalent.
I would agree with that. The difference between the two cultures is that we have hundreds of thousands of people that die of complications of measles, where vaccines are not present. Whereas we have a far lower rate, and generally in isolated populations that have complications from measles in countries where vaccination is available and encouraged.
Very much. I think lost in the shuffle there was that video. Anybody care to get back to it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, was we watching a video?
6 on one hand, half a dozen on the other. This is even more interesting than
Mum's
Oakley.
anus hole and fucking eating them, and I just realised we was
Jesus
watching
Christ,
a film
what?
together.
All I started to
came in
hear
the
from that
middle of
was
that
Mum's
one.
anus hole.
Yeah, what the hell happened there? Tatty, save us, buddy. Roll it. Jesus Christ.
Bluff. Well, they were bluffing us the whole time. We've got science. Science proves we're on a spinning ball. That's what we were told. What are flat earthers? Well, they're science deniers. Well, let's break that down.
Yep.
What does that actually mean? It means
they deny
they're
science.
projecting their pseudoscience as
Wrong.
proving things, whilst simultaneously calling us pseudoscience deniers. Now, I'm happy to, now that it's been broken down, go along with that. Yeah, we are absolutely denying what they call science. Because it isn't science, it's pseudoscience. Now, the tables have turned 2017, 18 and 19 to the point where, like you say, they're having to edit Wiki to change the fundamental principles of science so that it meets their ends when they peddle their pseudoscience. Well, isn't this an interesting turn of events? The flat earthers are the ones talking about actual science.
Go logical.
Oh, Jesus. Trying to call our stuff pseudoscience when you're talking to a group of guys who do the 3rd grade egg float experiment and try to say that density is a force. Are you fucking kidding me? Jesus Christ. Grow a fucking brain bigger than the size of a pea. Density is not a force, dude. You know, it's the fucking gravity.
Well, here's the problem that you run into is, you know, this is their typical circular reasoning. All right. What is science? It adheres to the scientific method. What is scientific method? It is this one specific thing that is extraordinarily restrictive and states the investigator must personally manipulate the variable. Therefore, astronomy is not a science. Seismology is not a science because the manipulator doesn't change the location of the earthquakes in advance. Gravity is not a force because they seem to believe that you can't manipulate gravity. All right, because they can't comprehend turning it 90 degrees on the side like Cavendish did. It eliminates the effect of gravity. And, you know, therefore, since these are not sciences, they become pseudosciences because of their definition. And then by supporting these sciences, we become pseudoscientists ourselves. So they are now denying pseudoscience of their own creation.
Classic straw man.
Yeah, do you kind of follow me there, guys?
I do, absolutely.
You see what they're doing, and that's why I just look at them and I say, yeah, right. Let me go edit Wiki again.
I know
how we got
Kennedy
the
wants...
Riley Nodal effect, I think, in the Urban Dictionary somehow. It wasn't me, but I wish it had been me. You could treat it as though it was me.
I would love to get the credit for that. Oh, wow.
No,
that would make you feel good.
No, I think I know who did it, but I'm not sure,
cool.
so I'm not going to say it. I think it's one of the English guys.
I love it. I love
UK
it.
guys.
Dead Kennedy's been
pisses them off when you say
Dead Kennedy's
English.
been waiting a bit. Let's get him in here.
Can I just point out that every time Riley claims pseudoscience, it all implicitly it just assumes that it assumes their conspiracy already. Because it assumes that satellites are not in space. Therefore, we don't need to prove space exists anymore. We have shit up there. We have robots on other planets. You have to prove all of that is fake before you start calling it pseudoscience. Am I wrong?
No, I love that. I love
you're
that
not.
very much.
You're not wrong, but these morons say, well, you can't verify it for yourself, therefore fake.
And that ignores the importance of peer review.
Exactly.
Well, it
You
has
don't
to
need
do
to
too
do
with
every-
the zetetic method. That's one of the reasons they use the zetetic method, which means that you have to personally verify it yourself.
And
I kind of
can I
have
just
a
say,
feeling.
the Zetetic method, does that not basically say everybody needs to start by inventing fire and then do every single experiment since then?
Pretty much,
Yeah.
And you know, the other thing is, as a physician, it says that I cannot definitively say that childbirth hurts because I'm male. I have it on pretty good authority that it kind of smarts.
I think
All right.
you just might be right.
But I've never personally experienced it. Yet they would say that I am wrong for saying childbirth hurts. You know, you might want to consider, oh yeah, an epidural, that might be helpful if you want it.
Yeah.
And but you know, you don't have to have it, but if you want it, there it is. You might want to consider it.
I mean, if everybody had to do the experiments for themselves, we would be lucky to be at the point of where Michael Faraday let loose on the world and, you know, gave us his greatness, right? We'd be lucky to be at that point by now.
Well, the problem that you would run into literally is that we could have no education, because that would require us.
That's right.
Receiving information from people that came before us. So we would basically have to reinvent everything and come up with our own. We'd have to design our own experiment.
Yeah.
To
continuously and everyone.
Yeah, determine that, you know, the moon is a solid object.
Right.
Okay. And that's one thing that Flat Earth did for me, is that, you know, I mean, it's obvious to me, and it has been my entire life, that the Earth is a planet that rotates about its axis and orbits around the sun. And I understand why seasons occur and how gravity works and things like that. Well, fine, Bob, prove to me the Earth is rotating. A year ago, I'd be hard-pressed to sit down and say, well, what would be proof of this?
Yeah.
And, you know, you have to sit down and think about it for a minute. So I had to go back and pull out a 7th grade science book and maybe look at a few things. And then I finally came up with the best way to prove it. And I don't need to say anything more. And that is a mechanical gyrocompass demonstrates that the Earth rotates. It is required for the compass to work. The compass does work. Therefore, Earth rotates.
Yeah, I love how they did that for us too. I know Aimee's been dying to get in. We should turn over to her for a second here. Absolutely.
Sure, yes. I've got some good comments here. Coral Hayward says, I was born with some very serious health problems. She's 50 now, and she knows without vaccines and medications she would be dead. I'm glad you're better, Coral. I'm sorry to hear that. Floyd Marston says pouring water on a basketball science is what they go for, what the Rileys and all of them go for. And Wolfgang says, he said, could Bob maybe do a small series where he debunks anti-vaxxer arguments so that there would be more real information around and arguments to go against anti-vaxxers? Linda Bertelsen says it presupposes their position at Dead Kennedy in Space. That is exactly what Oakley says on his show all the time. BM Furball said a good joke. Childbirth pain, total conspiracy for the ladies to get the good drugs. Linda Bertelsen says we wouldn't have children if men had to give birth. so that was pretty funny.
Absolutely. Good one. Oh man, my screen just went crazy on me. Oops. Okay. Are we back? Am I good here?
Okay. All right. I may fade from you here for a minute, but to answer your question, you know, I've got to.
Oh, robot it out there, Dr. Bob. Can you try starting again for us? Yeah.
And I'm going.
Oh, you're roboting right out.
Things I may.
Nice, good one.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Okay, now you're back by the sounds of it. Yeah, try again. Start from the top.
But I'm probably going to get out of Flat Earth for the most part, because I'm tired of just debunking the same thing again and again and dealing with people that don't want to learn. But I am going to move on to some other things, and anti-vaxxer is going to be a very prominent target for me in the next year.
Oh, good to hear. Good to hear. Oh, I love it. I love it. Excellent. Before we get lost completely, we were lucky enough to get one of Babe's idiot reports in for tonight, everybody. So what do you say, Tatty cues it up and we let it rip?
Let's do it, man.
All right, killer. Load it up and fire, Tatty.
All right, you may lose me a little bit.
Okay, yeah, let's hopefully we're good here.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Shills Halftime Idiot Report. This is Babe's Troglodyte reporting. Today's report comes to us from a channel called Dearth, who thinks the space shuttle is nothing more than a rocket-assisted balloon. In other words, a blimp. Don't take it from me. Let's hear it straight from the jackass's mouth. Yeah, you read that right, folks. Dearth thinks this is a rocket-assisted balloon. Henceforth, we shall call him Derp. Let's see what else Derp will have to say.
T-minus 15 seconds. The sound suppression water system has been activated.
10. CLS is go for main engine start.
We have a go for main engine start. And we have main engine start. 2, 1.
These aren't edits, they are camera angles. You know, when a film crew uses more than one camera to film things from multiple angles. To a certain degree, they do produce these live shows with an entertainment in mind for the viewers at home, but it's not a Hollywood movie. It is a filming of a live event. Yes, let's take a closer look at what's happening. Hey, look at that, folks. Derp got something right. Depending on the mission at the time, 4.5 million pounds at liftoff is a pretty accurate rate. Yeah, that's how they light the engines on the space shuttle. A little fire? That doesn't look like a little fire to me. That's a shit ton of a rocket engine firing. No, you dumbass. It doesn't float up. It's trying to lift off because it's under thrust. They haven't released the restraining bolts yet. All right, you toad-eating fuckwad. This is not a bounce, as you're trying to call it. NASA calls this the twang, which is caused by the asymmetrical design of the space shuttle and its booster rockets. When seen from the angle of the top of the booster rocket, as seen here, it is actually a forward and back rocking motion, not an up and down bounce, you disingenuous knuckle dragger. A brief reading of the laws of motion would tell you this, you illiterate snob.
2, 1. Start. 2, 1. Booster ignition and lift
Hey,
off
derp perp. How fucking fast do you expect it to be moving the moment they release the restraining bolts? And as you just said, it accelerates. And for the safety of the astronauts, the onboard computer regulates the power of the thrust so that it does not exceed 3 Gs or 29.4 meters per second squared.
Discovery rolling onto the proper alignment. Discovery rolling onto the proper alignment.
No, you dit-wat moron. That's not the reason for the roll program. There are multiple reasons, not the least of which is that in 1971, Northrop discovered, through the power of math and physics, that by rolling the spacecraft upside down, they can increase the payload by 20%. If you want to know more reasons, read a fucking book. I guess you never heard of telephoto lenses, asshole. Geesh, the stupidity just marches on. Yes, let's do look at a day launch. Not a balloon bounce. I've already explained what the twang is.
2, 1, boost ignition, and liftoff.
But they will rock back and forth. No zooming out doesn't make it look like it's going further. It's just a decision made by the camera operator to add a little distance perspective. Not even cloud height. How can you tell when you're looking underneath the damn thing? Again, you need another perspective. I guess you've never seen video of a rocket launch taken from a plane from 30,000 feet. Look it up, shit for brains. Aha! Caught you, you thumb-sucking imbecile. I bet you didn't think I'd find the original video you used for this shot, did you? It comes from a channel called Indie Gum, and as shown here, clearly states that he used dozens of different audio sources and countless video sources, and mixed them together in order to provide his audience with as close to a real experience as possible in a real video, which means the sound in this video clip you're showing was edited. And that's about as much as I can take of this. Complete tool on a roll, folks. So thanks for watching now, and back to Dick and the Shills live show.
Oh, thanks so much, babes. What do you think, everybody? Another absolutely perfect idiot report from our babes Troglodyte.
That was fucking awesome.
Bravo, babes.
Yeah, that was great.
What's up,
Guys,
berries, man?
can I use toad eating fuckwad as the title of one of my videos?
Oh, absolutely.
Don't expect
mean,
it to
that's
get
just
monetized.
I mean, tell her that she touched my soul with that. It did. I mean, it
That's
just
wicked.
toad
She
eating
had-
fuckwad is just. I'm sorry. I've got to wipe away a few tears. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
It was
I
the
burst-
awesomeness of it.
I burst out laughing so bad in the background I had to put it in the live chat. I think that's the funniest line I've ever heard in my life.
She has certainly learned to wield the club of reason with grace and style.
Absolutely.
But, you know, I mean, she sounds so sweet. I mean, she sounds like my wife. And, you know, just to think of that coming, or my daughter, my sweet, innocent 19-year-old little girl. And she could just let it roll right off the tip of her tongue like that. It was a thing of beauty. It was a thing of beauty. I think I'm in love.
Oh, I think there's a mutiny going on in the chat. Ugly German Truth says we have to make sure the babe stays with the Shills even after Logical Troglodyte and Juk run off to found their own Neanderthal monkey love connection in the Amazons. Oh my God, they're already planning to replace us, Jut.
Oh no. Oh, that's great. Jesus Christ.
Well, I just have two things to say. I personally watched Apollo 17 go up.
Nice.
And I watched Apollo 17 go into space. And at 10 years old, I fucking recognized what I was looking at when the exhaust gases went out and disappeared. All right?
Nice.
I've seen it. All right?
Awesome.
So, and my younger brother is 19 years younger than I am. My second youngest, my youngest brother, he watched the Challenger blow up.
Yeah, I did as well.
I mean, he saw it. He didn't know what he was looking at, but for years, he was 4 years old, and for years, he understood that all the astronauts died except for one.
Hey, Bob.
Sometimes it was the teacher. Sometimes it was one of the other ones, but there was always one that lived.
You make another YouTube channel.
And I will not tolerate any of these fucks ever talking about that. I mean, the first time I ever got mad at Flat Earth was with Mark Sargent when he said, look at the astronaut suit. It's fake. It's all fake. And then he flashed a picture of the crew of Apollo 1, and I lost my shit.
Yeah,
he thought it was a stock picture. He didn't realize what he put up. And it And and I just lost my shit on them. But yeah, I mean, you watch a space launch when you're in Florida. I lived in Florida. I grew up in Florida. I saw these things. And sometimes you wouldn't know what it was, and then all of a sudden the stage separates. Oh, that's a rocket. And then you can see it. I mean, you just got to be able to recognize what you're looking at.
Absolutely. And it doesn't even take too much knowledge to get a basic grasp. Absolutely. Janie in the chat
at 10
here.
years old. At 10 years old, I understood what I saw.
Yeah. I myself, by the age of 10, had lots of literature based on space programs, rockets, and so on, and space. And I would have known for sure being in your position as well. Absolutely. Janie in our chat had a little comment for you, Dr. Bob. The toads of Queensland reject that saying. They are smarter than that. Maybe she's got a point. Oh, that's funny. Oh, we did get a couple of super chats in, too. Anybody want to read them off here?
Yeah, I can grab that.
Cool.
Oh, okay.
I'll grab it. John Rapp, Australian $5. I'm late. G'day, everyone. Has the coup d'etat been administered yet? Thanks, John. We love you, buddy.
Absolutely.
And, if I'm correct, did we get Digital's last comment?
Yeah, it's not out yet. If you can, that would be great.
Sure. Digital Demonic Davros. Is that Australian $2? He said,
so.
Can't squeeze a baby out of my Dawson hole.
Oh, that's awesome. I think Stephen Cup of Reason's waiting here. Let's go to him.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment a little further on what Dr. Bob was talking about. I remember as an 8-year-old boy laying on the ground in front of the TV, gnawing on a popsicle, watching Apollo 11 go up for the first moon landing. I knew then what was going on. I understood what I was watching. And for these people to make such, to almost make comedy out of the deaths of these incredible people who have done so much for the furtherment of humanity, that just, it cranks me up to no end. And absolutely. Most recently, that piece of shit degenerate Owen Benjamin doing a bit on the Challenger explosion in his comedy routine. What kind of a degenerate piece of shit would do that?
Did he pull a Challenger as fake comedy bit?
No,
Yeah,
he talked about how funny it was that they just rolled the TV out of his classroom when he was a kid. They really built it all up, and then they put it on the TV, and then they saw this thing on it, and then all the teachers got quiet and rolled the TV out of his room. Ha 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 ha!
Yeah,
and the fucking audience.
Can I just pipe up?
7 people just died. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
Can I
go,
just
Monkey.
pipe up? I mean, I haven't spoken for a little while, and I've been listening, and as some of you know, I have a channel, The Truth Is Not a Hoax, and I done the Challenger, and I'm about to do the Columbia disaster. And a part of that video, there's maybe 3 to 3.5 minutes of, as that disaster unfolds, the families and the parents of Krista McAuliffe and the shock, the horror, and then the realization of what they've
and
just
the children
witnessed is not
the school kids that were there and watched it.
Exactly.
You hear them crying, and that's just really fucking funny.
And do you know what?
Yeah.
I don't
That
care
is a deficiency
what anybody
of
says.
humanity.
Oh, it's funny. Oh, it's just comedy. It happened 30 years ago. No bollocks. Had Krista McAuliffe's parents been in the fucking in the audience when he cracked that joke, they would not be laughing.
No doubt. Absolutely.
Either with any of those school kids or my brother, who was in counseling for years, and just the only way he got through it was he always convinced himself that one of them lived.
Right.
It was always a different one, but one of them lived.
Oh, right. That makes
And,
sense,
I
too.
watched that happen. Do you know, I was in college when that happened. And I had an exam that day.
I come home from school and see it on the news at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And the image I had of the space shuttle at that time, it was amazing. It was just, for me, it was just best thing ever. and then that shattered it for me, and I never forget that. And
My
then
roommate and I spent the day with cardboard tubes building models of the shuttle, trying to figure out what the fuck happened.
Oh, really?
I mean, I was done that day. So was my roommate. And
no, exactly. Oh, I can only imagine. We got to turn to Aimee quick here. She's been dying to get in some comments. Sorry, Aimee.
That's okay. Intellectual iconoclasm says, by the zetetic argument, they can't be sure they're actually communicating because they can't be you. They're talking about flat earthers and conspiracists. Further, they didn't create language. How can they claim their ideas passed to another? Mike Bertelson says, not to mention that over the decades, literally millions have seen the launches live, no edits. I guess they're all on the government payroll. And Dark Knight Apologetics says the idiot won't talk in his own video because he's embarrassed of the amount of stupid coming out of his mouth. Floyd Marston says rockets float. They all float up there. Errant Massa says, for Kennedy, my beef with their faking angle, the prohibitive cost of maintaining a centuries-long world-spanning lie. Demon Orb said, yay, babes. Christ Puncher says, why don't any flirts just go to see a rocket launch for themselves? Wolfgang says and Wolfgang says he expects it to shoot out like a bullet, and astronauts are supposed to get splattered into the back wall of the cockpit. And then
delivering salty strawberry jam to the ISS is not on the order. Go look at it themselves because they don't want to know that.
Yeah, you don't want to send it there just to get cleaned, right? you know, make it worthwhile.
Get rid of that strawberry jam. Get rid of that salty tomato sauce. And Jay Sherman says, Jay Sherman says the launch is not recorded in portrait mode on a phone, so it must be fake.
Oh, those are good. Dead Kennedy's been waiting. Give her, buddy.
I just want to kind of lighten the mood a little bit because we've been talking about people remembering disasters, and that's one of the many ways that we know these things are real. But if Tatty is able to put up an image that I'm trying to share on screen, here's a slightly more cheerful example of how we know these things are real. It's an image of the sun with a solar filter. Go ahead, I'll describe it while you're trying to pull it up there. It's an image of the sun with a solar filter, and someone, someone managed to photograph a transit of the ISS and an approaching space shuttle in really great detail. And I did some editing and zoomed it in and kind of put a transparent PNG of the actual shuttle beside the transit, and you can perfectly.
So it's a composite.
No. That's an editing thing I did. It's
okay.
Like the original image is there, and then off to the side there's some edits where I just put the shuttle side by side with the shadow of it. If Tatty's able to pull it up, you'll see it right away.
Here we go. Okay. Keep playing.
Yeah,
So
that was awesome.
I'm glad everybody saw it, but I'm going to repeat that because I was rather proud of what I said there. That was a picture of a tin can with solar panels flying with a very heavily armored glider chasing it, both of them falling over the edge of the earth and never hitting the ground, taken by somebody who was on the ground.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I love it. Holy, absolutely. So, and we're getting ourselves a little bit late. Should we start going around the table for wrap-up thoughts here? What's everybody think?
Do we have the videos done?
Well, we didn't quite get done that first video, but I think are we pushing? What's our runtime there, Tatty? I don't actually have it in front of me.
So we ought to do an after show. If we want to watch the rest of the video, that would work too.
Yeah, we're sitting at almost an hour and 50.
Yeah, our runtime is 1:45.
Well, everybody, let's see if we can scavenge up enough people after here, and then we'll just go back and keep going. That good with everybody?
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah,
I enjoyed
alright.
myself, and I really appreciate the opportunity to come on.
Yeah. Well, if nobody on the panel is in a rush, we can just keep going into this video here. I mean,
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
Patty, you good? You good? Let's let it rock.
Fucking rock and roll.
All right. Who knew? Let's just run it. I mean, we kind of run the place, so who gives a fuck? Nobody can tell us otherwise, right?
Hypothesis-based predictions that are validated or invalidated by systematic experimentation. We, the flat earthers, are talking about science. The purveyors of the heliocentric model aren't. They're pseudoscientists. And this is what will change the game in this arena. The recognition of this very detail. The people who tell you are on a globe are pseudoscientists. They don't have any scientific validity. And what are we talking about here and trying to educate our audience?
Hillbillies want to be called sons of the soil, but it's not going to happen,
Actual
Riley.
science. Legitimate cause and effect relationships being established through scientific prediction hypothesis that's validated or invalidated with systematic experimentation. That's what we're talking about.
Nathan Buttfuck Oakley just reads from a script words he doesn't fucking understand, and then he tries to act fucking big. The guy's a fucking moron, he's a bully, and he's a fucking idiot, let's face it. I mean...
He's a loudmouth dick. He couldn't figure it.
Fucking a year, if it wasn't for fucking JM Truth, he'd be well in there.
He couldn't work his way out of a wet paper bag with a fucking chainsaw.
I offered to let him come over. I offered to let both he and Quantum Eraser come to my channel and debate one of their flat earth housekeeping questions on my channel where they didn't have access to the volume and they didn't have access to a mute button. And the last time that happened was the last time I saw him outside of his channel, where somebody that actually had something together went up against him, was when Conspiracy Cat wiped the floor with him on Anthony Riley's channel.
Oh yeah.
And I watched that one.
That was absolutely
did I.
wicked. But I tell you what,
It
Dr.
was.
Bob, you wiped the floor with him with your video where you just absolutely dismantled him. That was one of the best videos I've seen this year, and I mean that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I got to say, all these flirts that love their little echo chamber so much are the classic definition of cowardice.
Oh yeah, very much.
Yeah. Can I
Very
just ask really
much.
quickly? I missed something. Were we just listening to Oakley?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you
I thought
dumb
we were
fucktard. Come on,
listening
wake
to
up,
Riley.
Kevin.
I thought we were listening to Riley. Those two dumb
Riley
fucks sound
started
completely
off,
the same
well,
to
Riley
me.
started it off, and then
Yeah.
Oakley took it over because
I missed the switch.
yeah.
It was about
Well,
30 seconds off the Riley.
Fucking dork.
Well, the problem is they're both assholes and they're interchangeable.
Yeah.
I would agree with
Kind of
that.
like Lego.
Even Brown 01 called me and he said, "Kevin, you dork." I know.
But I tell you what, absolute nail on the head there. They are both a couple of fucking assholes.
Absolutely, and they're assholes who kind of cohabitate together, because you've all seen that screenshot, right? Where I think it's Oakley is coaching Riley during a debate, and Oakley says, "Don't talk about the lighthouse. It's a perfect globe proof. You fucking pose."
Exactly. They do
Fucking
make
right.
good targets for monkey shit bombs, though.
Oh, I'll fucking monkey shit bomb them all day, Jeff. Trust me. You know, I've already rolled up 4 turds. I've stuck them in a corner, and I'm just taking a dump into my hand again. This one is a little bit runny, but I'll just roll it around a little bit longer, and trust me, it'll be just as sticky.
Ooh.
No, I don't think that Nathan is a bigger asshole than Riley, because you can talk to Riley. You can talk to them both equally. I tend to the way I shut Nathan down is that when he starts going off, is well, there you go. I'll be back in 15 seconds. And then I let him sit there with 15 seconds of dead air before I'll talk again. And that shuts him down quickly.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I hang up on him periodically because, the thing about it is he's been doing this for 4 years. I've been doing it for 11 months, and I already have far more. I have multiple times the views he has every day. And
oh, we're losing you, Bob.
My channel, because I don't actually see.
We lost you for a few seconds there, Bob.
That's okay. I didn't say anything of note.
Are you sure?
Can you hear me now? Yeah.
Yep, coming through again.
I just want to say, in regards to Riley, one of the things that pisses me off about him the most, I've now done this 3-series. Shoot, hang on. Sorry, my phone went off. I've now done this 3-part series on Riley's shitty excuse for a thesis, and it's gotten a lot of views. Those videos are really popular, and I haven't heard a word out of that guy. But the problem is, months ago, he commented on one of my videos and said, "Ooh, you okay, Jeff?"
Excuse me. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm sorry.
No worries, man. Months ago, he commented on one of my videos and said he wanted to have a conversation with me about my, my dogmatic belief about the shape of the Earth. And I said, sure, and he never got back to me. And now I've done this 3-part takedown, and nothing out of him. Like, it's unbelievable. I can't get a word out of that guy, and I'd really like to at this point.
Well, he watched the rest of your content probably and realized he was barking up the wrong tree.
Oh, what? That he was dealing with someone he can't.
Who actually has a brain? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I looked at it, and there were a couple of really good ones. I really liked your series, Kevin. And I liked Miles Davis's series on it, who's also an educator.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I'll have to check that out.
He's got a good one from an education standpoint. You have an excellent one. I mean, you're a true writer, and your words are powerful with it. I sat down and I looked at it, and I marked it up, and then I realized that, quite frankly, there's nothing I can do with this. First, it's already, most of the things that I wanted to hit on were already done, and I wanted to just give them the views on it. And I just came down to the point that, Riley knows less about the law than he knows about science, and he will never be an attorney. The thing that's going to get him is he's going to be a minivan driver the rest of his life, because they are never going to pass this thing. I just finished doing graduate level work with the Air Force, and I would have been reprimanded if I had put anything like that in. And it's an embarrassment, is all I can say.
Absolutely. And if anybody is or Floyd, rather, if you could respond to this, did you make that image yourself that you just shared in the chat? Everyone should see it on Discord. It's hilarious, and everyone should check it out. It's an Imager link of Riley and Oakley, photoshopped in an interesting way. It's pretty darn funny. There you go.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
That's classic, man. That's classic.
I don't know if Tatty would be able to put that up on the screen, but that's totally worth it. It's hilarious.
Okay,
it's not his. He's had it for ages. Okay. Still, it's hilarious. It's about as good as the JM Truth Photoshop to look like he's on Al Jazeera.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Oh, it is classic.
Yeah, it would be nice to get that up for sure. Should we should we go back to a little bit of video, and then that way we got the picture all queued up?
Yeah,
and
let's go ahead and
everything's
keep it
good?
going.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure.
good.
Let's hit it
Let
up.
me guess. He's going to have his hero motif where he's going to try and sell some T-shirts by showing that they know the only truth.
Yeah.
And and everybody else is wrong, except for a guy who buys groceries for people and a guy that runs a minivan. So okay. Now, granted, just because you drive a cab doesn't mean you're stupid by any means, but your words show that you're stupid. That's the difference.
Well said.
Okay, let's do it. Are you ready there, Tatty?
About us flat earthers. Quick, censor them! Yeah, I get a fair few compliments on my ability to debate people, and the main point, the one crucial detail that I've learned that means I win when debating flat earth is this. Knowing what actual science is means I win.
Yeah, you fucking
It is pretty much as simple as that. With that one bit of advice, if you
no real science is life dependent on.
We can get into that part, but something that's really bothering me is he implying, by showing the 2 minutes hate footage over this, is he implying basically that flat earthers are what's his name? The guy on screen right now. I can't remember the character's name. From
Big Brother?
No, the guy that they all hate.
Why can't I get it to my mind right now?
I can look it up really quickly, but
the one from 1984 where they put the traitor up.
Yeah, Winston Smith.
Winston Smith was it wasn't.
Oh, 1 minute debunk was wrong. Oh, we lost Bob again there.
Go on image if you want to.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Emmanuel Goldstein. Emmanuel Goldstein.
That's it.
But are they implying that Flurfs are Emmanuel Goldstein and that we're like trained to do a 2 minutes hate against flat earthers? No, we're absolutely not. And this whole bullshit about like, oh, censor them. No, nobody says censor flat earthers. There's a couple like crazy, really radical people out there who do. I've actually had a couple of them on my channel, and they actually really annoy me. But they're a small vocal minority. Most people welcome debate with flat earthers because it's very easy to show you that you're all fucking morons.
Yeah. And the statement he just made that stuck out in my head is that he got plenty of compliments about his ability to debate. I'm sorry, but if a moron compliments you on something, well, wow, you're really smart. Yeah, it's really not that much of a compliment.
Yeah,
he's not a debater. He's a middle school bully that just shouts down people that he first drops the volume on and then mutes.
Yeah.
He shouts them down and doesn't give them an opportunity to respond.
Yeah. That always pisses me off about Oakley is like, I'll say it to them in my videos that they're absolute morons, but I generally won't do that in a debate. Just like shout them down and just go, no, you're retarded if you think that. And that's the kind of thing Oakley does. It pisses me off. If we have that picture lined up, if Tatty can switch to that, that is some legendary Photoshop.
Oh yeah.
They probably
I love it.
Now.
For sure.
Now that is funny.
Absolutely. That is classic.
Oh, I love it.
It's brilliant, man.
I think I'm going to print that for my wall. Yeah. Absolutely.
We should probably switch back because they probably can't hear us.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, let's switch back and get to the video.
Yeah.
How about some video? What do you say? Let's dig in.
Let's do it.
If you can understand and argue from a position of actual science, and I'm going to say it again, we're flat earthers giving you this information. Abide by the scientific method and you'll win as a flat earther. What does that tell you, Globies? That when you fight with us,
tells me you don't know what the scientific method
science,
is.
you lose. That says it all. I'm getting all fired up for a reason. We've been lied to, right? The Earth's not a sphere. Why have we been lied to? Well, because people peddle pseudoscience and call it science. And then you come to a flat Earth channel like this, Quantum Eraser channel, He's predominantly talking
No,
about the nature of
and
our
to what
reality.
purpose?
I have to point out again that he's skipping the whole "you haven't proved your conspiracy yet." You know, you're skipping the whole pictures of Earth from space, the existence of satellites. You're skipping all of that because you can't fucking prove it's fake.
You know what I think here, Kevin? I think what's really going on is these fucking absolute scum-sucking parasites on the anal wart of society type people are so lost in the conspiracy theory rabbit hole that they believe they don't even have to prove shit, because to them it's just painfully obvious that they and them, no offense to actual they and them, you know who I mean, everybody, but are controlling so much of it that they don't have to listen to fuck all because they've got it figured out. You know?
Yeah, it's become their presupposition that like they're just so convinced the conspiracy exists, they just assume it does from the opening, and that's bullshit. Because the conspiracy is absurd. It involves so many people. I need flat earthers to understand that what their conspiracy should be is the 99% being controlled by the 1%, not the other way around, goddammit.
Well said. Well said. Oh, I like it. Well, let's fire it up some more. Let's get into this.
The nature of our reality being it's a plane, it's not a sphere flying through a vacuum. And we're the ones that get censored. We're the ones that get wiki disclaimers below us, talking about reifications of flat earth models being archaic. That's what we get for telling our audience, use the scientific method. Stick to it, and you'll find out more about your reality with empiricism. And if you use that in this arena of debating about the nature of our Earth, you'll win against people who assert that the Earth's a globe.
Not suppressed,
if you stick to the scientific method. I mean, doesn't this... It should. It should.
Pause here. I want to present this to Dr. Bob. So, Dr. Bob, have you seen that phone app, the Flat Earth Model?
Yeah.
Did you notice in that photons literally have the ability to decide for themselves how far they're going to travel and when?
Yep.
They talk about models, and they don't understand the basic physics of what's going on around them anywhere close enough to ever have a real model. They don't even understand what the model is and for.
Well, you notice how they what they're doing is they're projecting a globe onto a flat surface and then mapping out where the sun is on the globe and putting it on the flat surface and somehow saying that works. You know, they just, you know, it's like Jose's question earlier. I'm not going to debate immunology with somebody that doesn't know how to spell it, much less understand what it is. And you know, and you can't just make up your own facts to suit your model, you know, to suit your conclusion. And that's all flat earth is. They have a conclusion, and then they try and figure out things that go with that conclusion. And if they can't find evidence to go with that conclusion, they simply make it up.
Yep. And what I just heard Oakley saying effectively was that I have all the answers. If you are willing to turn off your brain, ignore the fact that I'm hand waving away all of this evidence for no good reason, you'll be able to buy my t-shirts and be in the know.
In the know. No.
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 No. Del cows. Oh yeah.
No.
Hang on.
No. You know, I hate to tell you this, just an aside. A lot of people want me to debate Del, but there's a language. Yeah, there's a language barrier. I cannot understand Del. And you know, it's my weakness. I speak a smattering of German and some Spanish, but I don't speak whatever the fuck it is he's speaking.
So you don't understand Tattie-Bogle either.
We'll let you borrow Kiri so she can translate for you.
Oh yeah, she could probably hear through it. Absolutely.
I should just
Get Kennedy's up here.
Well, I heard that there's like 4 different Scottish accents, and he speaks the one that nobody can understand.
I understand it fine, son.
What is it so hard to understand? We go to physics, and we're told that we live in a pressurized environment that's coexisting next to a vacuum. Negative
I
pressure,
understand that.
zero
That's
pressure.
Scottish. I can deal with Scottish. I can't understand what the fuck he's saying.
Yeah, Del's hitting it though, right? You know.
Can I point out though? Didn't we have someone who specifically wanted to do a Del Cow tonight?
We did.
Oh yes, I totally forgot.
Are we able to do that right now?
Yeah.
Sure
let's get.
are.
Yeah. Okay, Aimee, right on. Is Matt all ready? Let's go.
No.
Good job.
No.
Good job.
No.
And this one's for 20.
Good job, Maddie.
Thank you.
Yeah, go Matt. Right on, buddy. Awesome.
Absolute travel.
That was so
A
good.
load of shite.
Oh, that was awesome. How about we switch over to a bit more video? There's about 3.5 minutes left, and I think we can get through it and finally knock this shit out the park.
Let's go ahead and just do all
Absolutely.
3.5 minutes without interruption. We're going to finish it up, and then we're going to let the mocking begin.
All right. Good
Okay.
idea, Bob.
Good
Let's
plan.
take it. Awesome.
Can I still yell at him over it?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
No!
You can be heard. So don't yell too much. Here we go, folks.
In the audience, not just flat earthers that listen to the show and go, yay, he's got him over a barrel with a question about whether or not they've established cause and effect and got empiricism for their claim when talking about a bloody star or something nonsensical like travelling to the moon. No, they haven't got any of this. None of it's scientifically validated. And this is how we're winning. With real science. Something that nobody in high up academia is ever going to disagree with you on. In other words, as a flat earther, you can argue this subject up to the level of academia, and unless they're indoctrinated, globe-worshipping slaves or zealots, they can't disagree with you. You're the one who's right when you're arguing from the position of the scientific method, not the globe heads, not the people who believe the space is real. This is, to me, quite amazing. It was back when I first got hold of the information. It got quickly
No!
Oh, hold on. We're letting it run, Monkey. We're letting it
We're
run.
supposed to get through it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go
give her.
ahead, Monkey. You dork.
Yeah. Well, where'd he go? What
Is he
happened?
screaming into the void again?
Yeah. Did he mute?
He's muted.
For God's sake, Monkey.
He's a cheeky monkey.
Well, let it
Quit
run
playing
then,
with
Daddy.
your tail, man.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Let's just let it run then.
shattered. I'll mention him now. When I was told, oh no, this knife cuts both ways. One day you'll be chopping Bob Nodell's head off with the exact same information. But that aside, it's glorious, right? We're winning as flat earthers because we're adhering to the scientific method. Isn't that glorious? It is for me. I think it's fantastic. A method that's absolutely ingrained in academia and has established bettering society with technology based on the application of that scientific method. Things move on in life because of this method, and it's on our side as flatties. Wonderful. Sorry about my extended diatribe. Should we continue with the presentation?
No, it's warranted. It's like a nice warm blanket, isn't it?
Yeah, knowing that you're right, and the people who are actually doing things that benefit humanity, not the ones coming up with just so stories, the ones that actually advance society. So yeah, science doesn't seem all that useful when people present certain experimental data. You go, oh, what does that mean? Well, it doesn't mean a great deal to the general public until technology comes along based on that experiment. Then people are all for whatever it is that you're validating through systematic experimentation because it becomes useful to them, normally much further down the line. but nothing that's punted from the pseudoscience religion of a globe is useful. None of it's useful. The only things they pretend that are useful in their model were predicted long before the heliocentric model even existed. So their claim bloody predictions aren't that great. The fact that they've managed to wrap them around a sphere is just a testament to how much they want their religion to work. It doesn't actually do anything useful. Science, on the other hand, does. It progresses humanity, and it's on flat Earth side. Make no mistake.
Is there a curve in that image?
If it disagrees with experiment.
Of course there's a curve in the image. That's why you couldn't see those grains when he entered the Suez Canal.
Because it would have taken forever.
Oh, what a fucking joke. Oh.
You guys are going up on your views.
Are we?
I think, you know, it's playing well.
108.
Oh,
that was it.
Look at he did. Oh man.
Okay.
Okay.
Really,
who wants
really
to start?
quickly.
Yeah.
Before we get too far, because there was a lot covered there, but that one guy, the guy with the North American accent, I don't know who that was. He nailed it when he described it as like a safety blanket. That is exactly what they're doing. They're sitting there sucking on their stupid safety blanket, completely unaware that it doesn't work and it's completely moronic.
Sucking on something.
And also, can we point out in that footage of the cargo ship, was it just me, or could we see some left to right curvature in that footage?
I think if we were to go back, I think if we were to go back and apply a dead straight line, you would just faintly see it. Kind of like one of Radical the Unhallowed Knights videos where he pointed it out in somebody's footage that was claiming flat Earth. It was awesome.
Maybe if you did some left to right compression.
Well, the problem that you run into is that there are bridges over the Suez Canal, and there are large gantry cranes near the Suez Canal, especially by the Mediterranean entrance. You can see them clearly on that video he just showed. Yet you cannot see it now. Why can't you see those bridges, and why can't you see those gantry cranes? Because they're beyond the curve of the Earth, dumbass. I mean, you're looking right at it. You just cannot recognize what you are looking at.
Yeah,
it's like this argument about crepuscular rays.
Oh,
you know, turn around. They come back together. That's the definition of perspective with parallel lines. And then look at it from above, and you can see the parallel lines.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it doesn't take much. They see things, they read their own interpretation into it instead of synthesizing it together as to what it actually represents. They look at it as their own. They look at it only in the light of their own narrative. Well, look, the rays diverge. Okay, well, they converge if you turn around, but they never talk about that. And, you know, they're experts in perspective, yet they think Mount Rainier is above the clouds when you can see space between the top of Rainier and the clouds. You know, I mean,
space between their ears too.
And then they sit down and, you know, they stupidly falsify using a camera trick how to make a shadow like that. You know, they tilt the disc. And then they get caught, and then they double down on it. You know, it's unbelievable. You don't see P-Brain talking about any of this anymore because I basically handed him his ass 3 times.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Did you ever? Dead Kennedy, you've been waiting, buddy.
Yeah, I'd just like to say hello to Multi-Tom Dipshit, whatever the hell his name is there in the chat, who appears to be a resident troll flat earther. I noticed, I checked his channel. The first video is, the first liked video is Chandrayaan2BS dash flat earth. So, yeah, we got a science denier in the chat. And if you'd like to maybe have a conversation with me on my channel about your denial of reality, I'd love to do that. I'd love to maybe show you some curvature, maybe show you some proof of space and space exploration. That'd be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. Anybody need to jump in before we go to the video?
Well, I just had somebody.
Oh,
that
we're
put a
done it.
comment
Yeah,
up.
right. Sorry. Yeah, we're
what
going
video?
around after the video. There we go. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, somebody put
I can wait
something
now,
in there.
why not?
They prefer this Bob to the scripted Bob. None of my videos are scripted. I just kind of put them right out. The difference between this and the normal videos you see is that I work full time. So the videos that I make, I generally finish around 4 a.m. Before I get a couple hours of sleep. And I'm probably just tired. I'm a little more animated right now because I'm a little better rested.
Works for
There
us,
you go.
that's for sure. Yeah, you're on the right show for
Absolutely.
animated. Absolutely. So who wants to weigh in on that marathon little ending we did there? There was a lot of good points in that. Absolutely.
Was there?
I mean, to go at, like, I loved how they used very deceiving footage, like Dr. Bob brought up. You know, they laid out something that looked like it was all nice and flat, but actually knowing what you're looking at tells you should have been seeing the heavy machinery that was up there, but beyond the curve, and therefore not in view. Very, very disingenuous. You know.
I just want to chuckle momentarily that multi-Tom dipshit thinks we work for MIT.
Really?
Where does that come from, buddy?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I pick
No, I
on
mean,
I pick on him actually in some chats on different streams that I've seen him in. Jose's is one, and Sanji is another, and I pester him and just torture him. That's all.
Well, the entire
Well,
thing,
why not? He's
It's
asking
the
for it.
entire summation of all of
Absolutely.
that nonsense that we had from Nathan there is I create a definition of what science is and declare that everybody other than me is a pseudoscientist. Therefore, I can disprove them using my version of my definition of scientific method.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. It's just a little circular argument and a straw man.
Oh,
And you know, it's just it preys on the weak-minded mostly. It preys on people that don't know any better. That he says it in an English accent, so and with confidence, so therefore he must be right. It's kind of like Phuket word.
Yes.
Aye.
Yeah, his pronunciations and stuff
English
are
accent
very
that
much
sounds like
done on
he's
purpose.
An Oxford man, Harvard man.
Yes.
Yeah, he tries to sound like an Oxford man, and therefore
Very much.
trustworthy. But
Dr. Bob said it, so I got to do it. Hello, Globe Earth researchers, debaters, and debunkers.
Oh my God.
I really like Canadians. I really do.
That's funny.
We like you too, Bob.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll tell
Coral,
you
maybe-
something. If this next election doesn't change some things for the better, I think I may be joining you.
Yeah.
We'd
Well,
love
hey,
to
we
have you.
welcome you. Exactly. I know everybody would agree with me there. Hey,
Oh,
Jutmonk,
absolutely.
are you there yet? Have we lost you or something? What's going on, bud? Yeah, still no. Yeah, he's still muted. So yeah, we'll just, you know, who knows? Hopefully all is well.
Jutmonk, unmute, you dork. Just gonna keep teasing him so that when he finally comes off mute, he's just gonna rage at me.
Yeah, or when he watches the stream back afterwards, he's gonna be, you abusive pricks. Oh, that's funny. Now let's see here. There was a couple other claims we should have a go at that were made at the end there. My
They win things.
Oh, that was
That
was right.
anything.
That was right along what Dr. Bob was saying there, you know. Science can only be my explanation. And then as such, you know, I beat you just by default, right? Instantly. I think that whole thing really does wrap up into that. I mean, it all leads to the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow with these guys, doesn't it?
Yep.
It's crazy.
Which is a $25 T-shirt.
Yeah. Oh man, absolutely. So let's see here. Logical had to run. Are we pushing the time for anybody? Have we still got a little bit?
I have until Monday morning. I got to catch a plane Monday morning.
Oh, I
can
know.
give you another 10 minutes. 15.
Yeah, yeah, because I know it's some of our UK contingent were really pushing their time frame here. So I wonder if we shouldn't go around the table for last thoughts and wrap it up, and then we'll see who's available and willing, and we can Discord and tweet out a after show if we're able to pull one together here.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Fine.
All right. So, I'm not sure if Anti-Flatter's still even here or not. Let's just see if he pops in as I say his name.
He's here, and he apologizes to the crew. He hasn't said much today. Yeah.
Yeah, some days are some days. I totally understand. So, any final thoughts you want to throw in on all of that mumble jumble that they called fucking knowledge?
Well, when it comes to like of Oakley and Riley and that, those fuckers wouldn't know the scientific method if someone wrote it on a bit of paper and slapped them in the fucking face with it.
Well said,
I have
man.
written it on a piece of paper and slapped him in the face with it. They still don't understand it.
Yeah,
I've used
There
their
we
own.
go.
I've used their own sources to show them the proper scientific method, and they still don't understand it.
Yeah, I've seen that. Cherry picking does you no good when somebody else can find the same information but digest it properly. Absolutely. What about Steaming Cup of Reason there? Any wrap-up thoughts and whatnot from you?
Oh man, that is a real shit show today, boy. I'll tell you, these guys, I don't get it. They think they're so damn smart and that they're the only ones who seem to understand the scientific method. Problem is, for them, if a scientific experiment consists of anything more than a ball of Play-Doh and some popsicle sticks, it's beyond them. I don't know. These guys are freaking idiots. They deserve to be laughed at and ridiculed, and we got guys like Bob to help us do it good.
Dick Dawson.
Oh, hi. Sorry, is Jutmonk there now? Is Jutmonk
Yeah,
there?
I'm here, mate.
Yeah. How's it going, buddy?
Yeah,
We're
fucking sound, bro.
Yeah.
Listen to an awesome show.
Okay. Yeah, we thought we might have lost you there for a bit. We wasn't sure. So
Did you hear me making fun of you, you dork?
Oh, fuck you, Kevin. You can't take me on, pal. I'll shake my hand and eat it. Let's watch you try that for a start. You wouldn't even go that far, pal, so don't take me on.
It's like Alice Cooper versus Frank Zappa. Too funny.
Yeah, I mean, what a pile of shit. Nathan Oakley, I can't stand the bastard personally. Do you know what? I'd almost want to use the C word, but I won't. I won't ever use the C word, but I mean, he is eligible for see you next Tuesday, you absolute wank spanner. Nathan Oakley, an absolute fraudulent fucktard who doesn't believe a word he's saying, and he's an evil little fuck.
Oh,
that's what I got to say.
Awesome, buddy. Awesome. How about Dead Kennedy in Space? Thoughts and wrap-ups, bud?
Riley and Oakley are cunts. I'll start there. and multi-tom dipshit. Yeah, come to my channel, man. Let's have a conversation. I'll see what you know about anything. I will say the only thing I got out of tonight that was relatively intelligible not intelligible, that was even like worth my time, was I got to see some decent footage of the space shuttle launches, and I always enjoy those. Rockets are fucking awesome. We're going back to the moon 2024. Flat Earth has 5 years.
Absolutely. Can't wait. Love it, man. And Tatty, how you feeling there at the end of things? Feeling good?
Okay, still doing good tonight.
That was pretty crazy stuff. That was pretty deep tonight, wasn't it? Holy.
That was, man. That was a particular vintage of stupidity from two masters of the art. I tell you, man. They're definitely not master debaters. Might have lost a knee somewhere.
Yeah, masturbators, but not debaters. That's for damn sure.
Master fucking wank spanners in my eyes.
There you
Well
go.
said, Joseph.
Oh, and we better check in with Aimee Hogan here before we get to Bob for the final word. Aimee, how's it going?
Good, thank you. We've got a lot of funny comments tonight, and I just want to thank everyone for coming, and thank you, Dr. Bob, for coming as well. Colon says, Nathan, QE, and Riley seem to always forget the most important part of a scientific method, peer review. It requires a consensus of people to agree that the science is valid and repeatable. Sorry, Matthew likes to chime in every once in a while.
Oh, that's fine. Let him have it. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, but that's all I wanted to say. Just thank you for everyone for coming, and oh my goodness, these people, honestly.
Awesome.
And see
Right
you
on.
soon, Multi-Tom Tom.
Right on. So let's turn to our guest, Dr. Bob, the science guy. Last words, my friend.
Well, I got a couple of them. If it's all right with you, I'll put this out on my channel on Monday and maybe bring some attention to this show. That, you know,
I would love that. Thank you very much. Absolutely.
I'll mirror it on Monday. Number two, Flat Earth is the pet rock of YouTube. And I stand by that. And the only people in Flat Earth are the willfully ignorant and those selling T-shirts to the willfully ignorant. Now, the final thing that we have is if we are going to have an after show, I'd like to make a proposal.
Absolutely.
Let's get Multi-Tom or any flat earther that thinks he has his crap together, and I challenge him to a live one-on-one debate in the after show on the subject of their choice, and I will wipe the floor with him on anything he cares to talk about. Anything related to earth science. I dare you. So come
we all
bring it.
dare you.
Just bring it.
Absolutely. The gauntlet has been dropped.
Oh,
and if you don't, y'all can piss off.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Let's give everybody just a second to see if we get any takers here, because I'm really hoping Multi would step in. That would be nice. He seems to have a real big mouth in the chat, and I'd like to see if you got anything in your pants that you could use to step up and like actually have a proper talk with somebody. That would be great, because I'm pretty sure that we can toss together an after show one way or another here, no problem. Let's see here. Are we getting a response out of anyone? Bring your herbs at Bob the Science Guy. Oh, okay. So let's see here.
Okay. Looks like he's accepted the challenge.
All right.
Yeah,
If he's
I bet he doesn't fucking.
And by the way,
turn up.
Multi-Tom, my ex-wife is dead. Watch your fucking mouth.
Oh, yeah. Let's see here. I'm just asking because, I can quickly throw it together and put it on my Dick Dawson channel. No problem. And just going to see if he gets an actual response in here. Nothing from him since I asked. Let's see. Your ex-wife. Never mind the back and forth there, Multi. Are you going to join the talk with Dr. Bob? Moderated back and forth, one-on-one, You into it, Multi? Don't focus on the little comment that just to back out of things, Step on up. Come on. What am I hearing?
War drums.
Multi-Tom, what the fuck? I think I'm getting a lot of stalling and whatnot. But what we can do is, we could fire up something on my channel, and then, we can, Multi-Tom-Tom's a big mouth on Discord and Twitter too, right? We should be able to chase him down or somebody else. If you empty the panel first. No, it won't be a panel though. That's it. What we'll do is everybody will be on the side doing nothing. It'll just be Bob and Multi-Tom, and I'll be in the center making sure everybody gets fair and equal opportunity to speak. That's it. Right, Dr. Bob? Oh.
Suits me fine.
Yeah, look, somebody's saying he disappeared now. Let's see here. Man, this guy communicates about as well as a flat earther, so, you know, we're kind of getting what I expected, that's for sure. Let's see what we can, you know, salvage out of it, though. We'll give him, like, you know, another 30 seconds, right? That sounds about good. Why don't we take bets here? Who, Bob is a herbalist, Multi-Tom says. So, Multi-Tom, are you taking the invitation to talk with Bob, or do you just want to be a big mouth with a keyboard and you actually don't want to step up and talk to the man?
What's the matter, Multi? Do you think you'd die of humility if a pot doctor took you to town? Is that your point?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
Guess what, Pally boy? I'm an internist, which means that I'm a puzzle solver.
There you go.
So piss off.
Yeah. Okay, well, Multi-Tom, we're going to keep wrapping the show up here. You can keep flapping your jaws, but you had the opportunity to step up and show what you're made of. So we all see what you're made of now. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Okay?
Multi-Tom says, look, it's 2 a.m. here. Oh,
yeah.
Poor Multi.
Mommy says it's bedtime. Come on.
2 a.m. You should still be drinking until at least 5, and then you're going to start running PT. That's the way a man handles this.
Exactly.
There you
Well
go.
said. Thank you very much. So, well, on that note, Dr. Bob, did you want to finish final thoughts there, and then we'll sign off and we'll get a little after show going and tweet it out?
Well, the deal is that most people in the flat Earth, I think, are doing it as a hobby. They do it for the attention. When they're actually challenged on their beliefs, they can't back it up. And, you know, that's one of the reasons that, you know, I put out my 5 Globe non-debate housekeeping, or 7 Globe non-debate housekeeping questions. They can't answer a single one of them.
I remember this
And,
very
you
well.
know, they're
Nothing
just
came up.
basically, they're gutless wonders. Yeah, I mean, they're
fucking
gutless wonders.
more than
They're-
gutless wonders. They're thick as fucking shit. They're absolute dumb as fuck.
Well, we used to
Anyone who
have-
thinks
we used
the
to
Earth is
have an
flat has
expression.
lost the fucking plot. Period.
Well, here's the thing. There's an old expression in the nautical community, and it's called "all sail, no ballast," which means that you look really pretty on a piece of scrimshaw, but a little breeze just knocks you right over.
Right.
And that's all that flat Earth is.
What a big pile of bollocks. Sorry, did I say that out loud?
Oh yeah, but that's all right.
It's like a gosh, bollocks. He said bollocks again. You know, everybody. I always say bollocks. That's what I do.
Yeah. Brown01 says, all bark, no bite, Bob.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, it looks like we're pretty much done with this one, folks. So I think we're going to wrap it up and put it in the bag. Why the hell not at this point, right? We've got a little bitch. Yeah, we got a little bitch running around the chat going wah, that couldn't step up and hold his dick long enough to take a piss, let alone jerk off. It's just flurfical masturbation, and we've heard it before. We're going to hear it again. What are you going to do? Let me tell you, folks, number one, awesome show. Dr. Bob, the science guy, fantastic guest. We have to have you on real soon again. Number two, ladies and gentlemen, do not get sucked in by the disease that is pseudoscience. Get yourself vaccinated by going to a library and reading a book. It could save your life. We're the Shills, and we're out of here. Let's say goodbye, everybody. Good night.
Good
night.
Flip side.
Run it.